It's now time for the People's Choice Award in the Concours Virtual in aid of UNICEF and presented by Haggerty. The People's Choice Award has been voted for throughout the last 5 or 6 weeks, and we've had thousands and thousands of votes, which have taken us down from the 245 cards we started with to just 16 in the People's Choice, and now we're about to reveal the third, second, and first choice in that vote. So David, tell us about the people.
So yes, the People's Choice Award is choice of the people. You may be surprised to hear that. It's anyone who's been on the website can vote for the car of their choice. And it's, well, I know how many votes there are because they fill up my inbox. They all come in on the emails and just tear down the screen. We've had tens of thousands of votes. Really impressive. I'm very pleased with it. So thank you everyone who's voted. I'll go straight into the results because in third place, there's a car that I really admire and I'm kind of impressed it's been voted for so highly. It's the 1933 Thomas and Taylor Napier Railton. Now, if you don't know, this is built for Brooklands back in the 30s. It was built for John Cobb, who was known for racing and also world records. It was designed by Reed Railton, who's very famous. And it was basically, they knew right from the start that this was going to be a racing car and a sort of long distance land speed record, car. So they really went for it. And there was a thing about aero engine cars at the time. They were building some really impressive cars, but this just kind of went completely nuts. So they fitted a Napier engine, 24 litre, 12 cylinder, produced 535 bhp at 2000 rpm. So this is in 1933. You can imagine what a beast it was, like absolutely mad. First time out in August 1933 at Brooklands. Of course it won its race, but it also set records right from the start. They were then off to Montlhéry in France, near Paris, big bank track, very bumpy bank track, set more records and kept setting them on while they were over there the first time until the poor thing gave up because the bumpy track had damaged the radiator badly. They then went to Bonneville, to the salt flats, because they thought that would be safer. They'd had a big accident at Brooklands trying to set some more records, and at Montlhéry. They'd had a big spin. So off they went to Bonneville, and they actually made a circular track in the salt. And they set records initially for 134 miles an hour over 24 hours as an average. Again, they kept going back. So they went back, I think, in 1935, and they became the first car to set an average speed over 24 hours of over 150 miles an hour. So these guys are quite brave. The Napier Railton later went on for more racing. It then starred in a film in the 50s called Pandora and the Flying Dutchman. It then was used to test aircraft braking parachutes. So it was up and down runways with parachutes tearing out the back of it. It was then used to try out disc brakes. So quite a mixed life. And it then got into vintage racing. And finally, it was given a rest. It's now at Brooklands Museum. It's not much of a rest because they still take it out a lot. You'll often see it demonstrated. And Brooklands are kind of proper custodians of it. They really look after it. It's the home of the car. After all that, I will say congratulations to Brooklands Museum for the Napier Railton, third place in the People's Vote. So, second place. This is another very, very interesting car, completely different. 1961 Ferrari 400 Super America, short wheelbase coupe aerodynamica, and that's a Pininfarina body. This is one of just 17 cars like this of the aerodynamicas. you know it's pretty special. All right, it's a Ferrari in the 60s, so it's going to be quite special. But this one was sold to Count Fritz Herbert Somsky of Geneva. So fairly important owner, I guess. It was with him for a while. It then went through a few owners. Ended up in Hollywood with a guy called Greg Garrison. He was producer of the Dean Martin show. Is also a very well-known Ferrari collector. So interesting guy. And it then, after he sold it, much later, he kept it a long time, went through the most amazing restoration, which is how it got to the point that it's at now, where they just went through everything. And this car has won every prize going. It's done all the big Ferrari shows and the trophies, the prizes. It's such a beautiful car. It's owned by Kevin Cogan, who's got pretty damn good taste in cars. He's got a few others. And we'll say congratulations, Kevin. Fantastic second place in the People's Choice Award for the 1961 Ferrari 400 Super America Short Wheelbase Coupe Aerodynamica by Pininfarina. Great. First place. I have to turn my page just to make sure I've got the notes in front of me. And we're into the 1948 Talbot Lago T26, owned by Robert Cadella from the Czech Republic. This is a Figoni and Falaschi bodied car. It's absolutely unique. It's incredible to look at. The curves on it are amazing, especially the rear. You've never seen anything like it. It's just this great curve up to the rear, to the roof. It was the 1949 Paris Motor Show car. And then, not quite sure when it turned up in the States, but it did. By the late 50s, it was in Los Angeles. And it was owned by a very well-known collector at the time. But he drove it for a while, but then from 1964, he stored it away. And that was it. Nothing happened to it. A restoration was started by his widow in, I think, 2011. Didn't get very far. And it was only a couple of years ago, it was bought by Robert Cadella. And he has gone through it. He's got a fabulous workshop. He's gone through it, the most incredible restoration. He's kept 95% of the original wood and sheet metal, despite all these years of it sitting around. He's even kept the original screws. He's cleaned up all the original screws rather than replace anything. And it was shown off at Pebble Beach last year. It did really well there. Then went to, it did Chantilly in Paris and Salon Privé in Oxfordshire in the UK. Won prizes at both of those, of course, best of shows. And it just blows everyone away. The great bit about it, which you may well have seen already, at the front, it's got little chrome baguettes, they're called. They are to signify a zip, because its first owner was Mr. Fayol, who was known as the Zipper King. He was a zip manufacturer. So fairly unique little point on that as well. So there we go. First place in the people's vote is the 1948 Talbot Lago T26 Grand Sport Figoni and Falaschi of Robert Cadella. Congratulations. I'll hand back to Jeff.
Thank you, David. That was really interesting, and what a great first prize winner. I mean, it has gone out. It's won so many other concours, and now it's also the People's Choice. So congratulations to the owners of all those three cars, and thank you for everybody who's put their cars in and for everybody who's voted. It's been, as David said, it's been a fantastic vote. We've had tens of thousands of votes in the People's Choice Award, and it'll be really interesting to see later on whether the judges' vote is similar to that of the People's Choice. So stay tuned, and thank you very much.